Boutique label Kino Lorber has just made an announcement of a sale that I know is going to hurt everyone's wallets. So today I'm going to give you 10 movies that I recommend you pick up during this sale. How's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode here at Figure Out Films. I'm your host, as always, Chris, and today we're going to talk about 10 Kino Lorber movies that I recommend you pick up. Now, if you are new to the channel or unfamiliar with boutique labels, Kino Lorber is a boutique label that puts out a lot of those movies from yesteryear, a lot of the under-the-radar, underrated movies, and gives them a nice little transfer and puts it out on Blu-ray. A lot of these movies would probably be stuck on DVD if it wasn't really for Kino Lorber, and the nice thing is that during their sales, they are very affordable. Range from $5 to about $18, which is great if you're trying to collect this label. Now, they aren't like a Criterion, and they're not like an Arrow where they're gonna have a bunch of special features inside of them, but the disc quality is usually pretty good. And again, you're getting a lot of under the radar movies that you really can't get anywhere else, especially like through streaming, unless you want it on DVD. So this is a great way to pick up some of those movies. And since they're so cheap, you can go ahead and take the risk with a lot of them most of the time. And if you're new to the channel, just joining us, and you like more movie talk and movie recommendations, don't forget to hit that like button, or don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well, so you can keep joining us. We beat 1,000K. The goal of the milestone is already done. Let's keep pushing as far as we can go in 2025. But other than that, let's go ahead and talk about the 10 movies you should pick up during this Kino sale. Starting off first is a movie from 1989, and the nice thing is it has a brand new 4K, which I can test that definitely it needs a 4K upgrade based on the old previous Blu-ray. That is Sea of Love. Al Pacino plays Frank Keller, who is a New York police detective, and he has a partner named Sherman, who's played by John Goodman, and the two of them are actually on the heels of catching a serial killer. Now, the serial killer seems to go through a pattern of hunting victims through an ad magazine, so Al Pacino decides, you know what, let me go ahead and put one of my own ads. And a lot of the times these ads are very spicy and they're salacious as well. And it turns out that Al Pacino falls for a woman who is being targeted by the serial killer. It's Sea of Love, it's hot, it's steamy, and it's kind of an homage to like those, I would say, those giallo movies from the 70s, like those movies with like the unknown killer with the black glove. It's a really great time, and I love John Goodman's character. He's just like your all-around good boy as well. Even though he wants to do some extramarital affairs at times, either way, he's still a good guy. He's John Goodman. So Sea of Love is a movie I don't see a lot of people talk about, nor have they seen, and I just remember this movie being really great and a good time, and it definitely needed a 4K upgrade. It's a really great thriller. It's kind of erotic in some ways, and yeah, I highly recommend you check it out. Next on the list is a movie from 1957. It's directed by one of my all-time favorite directors and one of the best to ever do it, Billy Wilder. I'm talking about Witness for the Prosecution. Witness for the Prosecution is a courtroom drama. It's nothing like 12 Angry Men. It's actually more of like a murder mystery film. It's really great because it stars Charles Laughton, Tyrone Power, and Marlene Dietrich. It's a star-studded cast, and basically Tyrone Powers has been tried for murder, and he's basically trying to defend himself, and his wife, Marlene Dietrich, holds evidence to help save him. Charles Laughton plays the esteemed old attorney at law. He's such a great character in this movie. This movie, again, directed by Bill Wilder, who's done such great works like Some Like It Hot, Double Indemnity, the list goes on and on. The Apartment, like this is one of these low-key great Billy Wilder movies that does not get talked about enough. Witness for the Prosecution. I promise you, the ending is going to keep your jaw on the ground. It's going to get your heart beating. It's making you go, what, really? What's going on? It's such a great movie. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I highly recommend you check it out. And if you have not seen much Billy Wilder movies, check out the movies I listed already. The next movie on the list is a buddy cop movie that I absolutely love. It's from 1986. It's Running Scared. Running Scared stars Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines as they play Danny and Ray. They're Chicago police partners who are trying to, break up these crimes that are happening. And it turns out that they're after one specific criminal that they just cannot catch. The criminal is Julio, and played by Jimmy Smits, I believe, who actually stars as Bail Organa in the Star Wars movies. You might recognize him, very young here. They just can't seem to catch him, and they decide they need to hang it up and open up a bar down in Florida. Really hard to, blame them on that. But once they get to Florida, they decide to go back to Chicago, and not as police officers anymore, but they still see that Julio has be able to walk free from jail, and they decide they just can't hang it up. They can't just call it quits. At the end of the day, they are going to always be Chicago police. and they end up trying to go ahead and catch him. It's a great buddy cop movie, great car chase sequences. Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines play off each other so well in their comedy, and the action is actually nothing to laugh at. It's actually pretty good. This is a movie, again, I don't hear many people talk about, and from being near Chicago growing up, I really do enjoy the scenery of the city and stuff. So I highly recommend you check out Reading Scared if you like those buddy cop movies. The next movie on the list is another Billy Wilder movie, and this is one of my all-time favorites, and this is the movie that won in Best Picture in 1945. That is The Lost Weekend. The Lost Weekend, starring Ray Milland. He plays a writer who has writer's block, and the problem is he also is a crippling alcoholic. In this movie, he's just not able to put the bottle down. You see him go through so many different ways to hide his alcohol from his fiance and from his brother, who are trying to get him off the booze. And the problem is he just can't. And it's a slow, dark descent into this madness of alcoholism and being your worst enemy and pushing the people away from you. Ray Milland just does a terrific job as this character. And when he's at the bar, and even the barkeep is telling him that he needs to stop with this, it's truly heartbreaking. And you get a great sequence in this movie where Ray Milland ends up going to a hospital where he sees a bunch of other people who are similar in his state, and he's absolutely terrified. It's a lot of hallucinations. And this is a great movie about the struggles with alcoholism and the horrors of it, but also it's a very uplifting movie in some ways, where he finds ways to get away from this struggle. Ray Milland just plays an absolute jerk in this movie, but man, anybody's watched this channel before knows I love Ray Milland, and this is one of my favorite roles with him. He's so charming, but he can also be a terrible guy at the same time. If you have not seen The Lost Weekend, this also won Best Picture in 1945. Highly recommend you check it out. For a long time, this movie was stuck on DVD, and then it got finally a Blu-ray through Kino, and I highly recommend you check it out. It's a great movie. The next movie on the list is the 1948's A Foreign Affair. A Foreign Affair stars Jean Arthur, Marlene Dietrich, and John Lund. And Jean Arthur plays a congresswoman who's going to interview some of the soldiers from World War II, and stumbles upon Marlene Dietrich, who is actually like a showgirl. She's someone who's an entertainer, and Jean Arthur ends up really enjoying her company and the character. And however, she starts to be courted, and then she falls for a soldier played by John Lund, and she's trying to figure out who this mysterious Nazi sympathizer, I believe, is. And it turns out that there's an affair going on between Marlene Dietrich and John Lund, and they're trying to keep it wraps from Jean Arthur. She plays a pretty innocent role. This is a love triangle movie in post-World War II. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it's actually a very enjoyable movie. Marlene Dietrich is phenomenal in this movie. I think she just steals the show from Jean Arthur and John Lund. And again, there's some infidelity in here, and you don't see movies like this really made anymore. So, this is a movie from 1948, and I say it still holds up. So I do think it's worth like the $8 it is to buy. So if you have not seen A Foreign Affair, it's definitely an under the radar Billy Wilder movie, but it's still really enjoyable nonetheless. Coming up next is from 2005. This movie is so underrated, and it should have won Best Picture. I'm talking about Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain actually has a 4K through Kino Lorber. If you've not seen Brokeback Mountain, I highly recommend you check it out. Brokeback Mountain stars Jake Gyllenhaal and the late great Heath Ledger, who very famously played the Joker in the Dark Knight movies. He plays a cowboy in this movie. They're both cowboy ranchers looking for work, and they decide to hurdle these sheep over this mountain called Brokeback Mountain. And what ends up happening is a romance ensues, and we basically throughout the movie follow their lives when they split apart, and then when they somewhat reconnect, and then split apart and connect again. It's such a great movie. It's so sad as well. I think the world was not ready for a movie like this when it first came out, I believe in 2005, because it absolutely should have won Best Picture. Ang Lee directs the hell out of this movie. I think just the landscape of Brokeback Mountain, and like seeing the old clothes and seeing like old Americana at the time, it's so eye candy, and I really enjoy watching this movie. However, it is so depressing. It is so sad, but man, it's really good. It's a really good movie. I highly recommend you check it out. However, it does have a 4K that's about $16. I don't know how rewatchable this movie will be. I will say I watched it for the first time last year, and it's still, and I still think about it from time to time. It's such a great movie. It's a movie you'll watch once and it'll probably stick with you for the rest of your life. But if you like those kind of movies, this is a great pickup. This is a great movie to see, and it's still streaming, but if you really enjoy it, I definitely recommend you pick it up. Next movie on the list is Planet of the Vampires from Mario Bava, 1965 movie. So The Planet of the Vampires is a movie I actually watched not that long ago, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's basically a bunch of astronauts going to a planet thinking they can harvest it, and however, it turns out that it's basically the home of vampires who come out and try to kill them. Now, the great thing about this movie is it's kind of slow in terms of like an Alien ripoff movie. This is 1965, so this is well before Ridley Scott's 1979 classic. So it's kind of funny to say it's an Alien ripoff before Alien even came out, but it kind of set the steps for that movie. So if you love Alien, this is a great time. This is a great movie to check out. Now, the vampires in this movie are more like zombies more than anything, but I still really enjoy it. This movie is very atmospheric when you see the fumes coming out of the craters on this planet and like trying to understand the mystery, what's going on with the crew members. I really enjoy this movie. I don't see many people talk about Planet of the Vampires, and for a very dirt cheap price, it's worth the pickup. It's a great time. If you've seen Planet of the Vampires, let me know down in the comments below. I want to meet my people, basically. So there you go. And the next movie on the list that I recommend is a William Friedkin film. Now, William Friedkin is definitely one of the great American auteur directors, and the movie I recommend that's through Kino is a new 4K of To Live and Die in LA. Now, I recently watched this movie for the first time, and I have to admit, it is a high-octane, heavy-fueled action neo-noir film. If I don't have your attention yet, let me go ahead and tell you some more about it. So, Special Agent Chance, who's played by William Peterson, and his partner are chasing after Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe plays Eric Masters, who is a counterfeit dealer in LA during the 80s. And Chance's old partner ended up dying, and he's seeking out revenge any means necessary. And with his now new straight arrow partner, he's basically bringing him down to his level to capture Chance. Now, this movie is high octane. You get car chases, you get a lot of really cool neon noir, neon lights, LA. I mean, LA sun. This movie is so gorgeous, and it has an amazing soundtrack. This movie is a 80s staple. Coming out in 1985, I feel like I was transported into this underbelly world, and it's at a great time. It's a hangout movie through and through. You get the top-notch directing from William Friedkin as well, who did The Exorcist, who's done Cruising as well. This movie, I can't recommend enough. Like I said, I recently just watched it, and I had a really good time. There's a lot of great plot twists to this movie. There's a lot of cool car chase sequences. I really do think Willem Dafoe steals the show in this movie. He's such a really cool villain. He's very interesting as well. And the ending is such a William Friedkin ending, where just kind of like that screenshot ending and then the cool music playing. It's so cool. Check it out. You can actually pick it up now on the new 4K, and it is gorgeous. HDR10, full 4K scan. Definitely recommend To Live and Die in LA. In the last two movies I'm going to recommend are movies I actually haven't seen, but I've heard a lot about. One of them I actually own, and just based on what I've been told and people recommending, I think I have to recommend it to you as well. Coming up next is 1963's Mario Bava again in Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is a movie starring Boris Karloff, who played the famous Frankenstein and the famous Mummy, and he stars in this horror anthology from Mario Bava. Mario Bava, who did Black Sunday, Planet of the Vampires, A Bay of Blood, all these other great iconic movies of old, who basically fathered in the Giallo movies like Dario Argento later on. Black Sabbath is a movie, again, I haven't seen, but I've been recommended countless times to check this movie out. And because one, I love horror anthology, and two, I love Mario Bava, and three, it has Boris Karloff. This sounds like a recipe for a great movie. You can get it as a standalone movie through this Kino sale, which I would say is pretty inexpensive and worth the pickup alone on recommendation. And the other thing is, I don't know how else you can get to this movie or how you could see it. Now, I'm lucky enough to own the Mario Bava Arrow box set that does have Black Sabbath on here, so I plan to check it out this way. This is unfortunately region locked, this is region B, but you can get this through Kino as a region A, so play on all your US players. So go ahead and pick up Black Sabbath, because I probably will watch it during the sale. So check out for the Letterboxd review. And finally, the last movie is, again, a movie I haven't seen, but it's a creature feature, and I've heard great things about it. You can get it on Blu-ray or on 4K. That is 1981's The Boogans. The Boogans, I know, it sounds really funny, and I kind of laugh this movie off, but more and more of my friends, some through YouTube and not, have said, The Boogans is really enjoyable. It's worth a watch. And I'm a sucker for a creature feature. I've constantly thought about picking it up before, and I think this might be the sale where I actually do. Basically, what I've understood is the Boogans is like a small mountain town, I believe, and the people are being terrorized by, I believe, like vicious turtles or like underground creatures that resemble turtles, I think. And they basically come around and gnaw at people's legs, and like, you know, it's a creature feature. If I haven't told you enough already, I need to check this movie out. But I think the Boogans would be a safe bet, blind buy pickup. And if it's on 4K, a creature feature on 4K is pretty unheard of, even now in the big 25. So that alone has me interested. And the fact that it might be something like, you know, murderous turtles, it sounds worth it. So my last recommendation is the Boogans. And there you have it. There are 10 movies I highly recommend you check out, or at least consider picking up during this Kino sale. If you've already made your pickups, let me know down in the comments below. And if you like more movies like this with more movie recommendations to traverse this very confusing world of boutique labels, let me know down in the comments below, and hit that subscribe button so I can keep you updated and informed as well. I appreciate you all, and thank you so much for the continued support on this channel. I look forward to making more videos in the future. If you have any recommendations, let me know down in the comments below. And that'll do it for us here at Figure Out Films. My name is Chris, as always, and remember, if you are not picking up Kino Lorber movies during their sale, do you really care about cinema? Other than that, I'll see you next time.